Ah, man. Bitch, don't get too comfortable. Too comfortable. Rest in peace to my grandmother, to my grandma, to my grandma. She used to tell me, you got too comfortable. When I was younger in my teens, I would have a little gig, a little job, be making my little money, and boom, I lose it. I lose it due to speaking up for what's wrong, or you know what I mean? What's wrong at the place or what have you. Speaking up on shit, speaking up on things, not letting them, little boy you or whatever the fuck. It's funny to me. It's funny to me because she used to be like, "You got too comfortable." Like, cause meaning, how you going how you gonna rise up? How you gonna rise up and forfeit your money? You know what I mean? You forfeit your money. Like, at least have a plan B. At least have another gig lined up, which I would eventually learn from that. Like I said, this was in my teens. I would learn from this very quickly. And I ain't never been one to sit on my hands anyway. I'll make something pop. I'll make something crack. So it was like, but it did bother me. You know what I mean? It did put a hurting on me in the moment when they let you go. You know what I mean? When they escort you out the building. So right after, because that's the like I just was telling somebody this earlier. As far as white supremacy, that's the system in a nutshell. They'll be the antagonist, right? And then boom, you rise up, speak about it, you talk about it, against it or what have you. Have your plight against it, and then they play victim. They play victim, and then being that they got the control over the whole shit. For example, in this example, the gig, the job, then they get you the fuck out of there. Oh, you cramping the whole system. You putting you know what I mean? You ain't no go along to get along ass nigga. We gotta get you the fuck out of there. I don't care how good of a worker you is. I don't care that you here on time. I don't care that your production rates is high. We gonna get you the fuck out of there. You done got too comfortable. Ah, shit. Speaking of that, even while I'm doing this live right now, when I first started doing this live just some months ago, the live talks, I would get random stragglers, random motherfuckers in my chat. Now they done shadow banned me now. They done shadow banned the fuck out of me. I know what it was though. You know what I mean? I know what it was. I said something. That they got you know got their panties in a bunch over. See, that's another thing. Like, I'm using they platform, right? Like, I don't know nobody that work at YouTube or Google or any of that shit. You know what I mean? So we use their platforms and shit, and it's like, motherfucker. I feel like we just can't get too comfortable, man. And too comfortable can go like in the way, excuse me, like in the way that I'm talking on that scenario with the, using their platforms and then they shadow ban you. You start speaking on things like per se our culture, you know. You start speaking on knowing damn well, like you speaking on things on our culture, on Black American culture at the same time. You thinking that you just, you got your Black American audience or whatever, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers that click on it, it'll be people that are interested in that can relate to it, but that ain't what goes on these apps. That ain't what goes on in these apps. What goes on these apps is majority of your views are haters or people that are anti you. You know what I mean? Majority of your clicks and shit are people that are, and of course this depends on the topic, the interest, of course your cooking or your music or what have you and all that, people are gonna click on it for different reasons. But like for example, the shit that I talk about on my channel, the angle, very much coming from a just angle, speaking on the issue as foundational Black Americans that we face, the issues that we face. I often get the anti-us come over here. So, boom, back to the too comfortable. So me, if I speak on things that are, about my culture, or, say even solutions, I'm very solution based. So I speak on, an issue and then a solution for it. It'll be the anti motherfuckers that are, got an ear to this. And to me, I've always had to backtrack that shit. I've always, I always knew that factor is in play. Like I already know that the anti-me, the anti-Black Americans are the main ones that tune in to this shit. So to put out too much, so to say, you get what I'm saying? Like to, really dive into certain details and things and shit like that, certain language, shit like that. Yeah, motherfuckers just need to realize where you at. I've always been taught like that, and I've always said it like that my whole life. I know where I'm at, you know what I mean? You know where you at? Yeah, I know where I'm at, you know what I mean? Always remember where the fuck you at, you know what I mean? Don't get too comfortable. Do not get too comfortable. Speaking of that, this is on the side note. I've never liked when, even if you know me, really I take it lighter when it's somebody that knows me. It's not that serious with somebody that knows me. But this point that I'm about to make that I really can't stand is like, boom, you pop up. Say I pop up with a new pair of sneaks or a new vehicle. We all grown. We pop up with a new vehicle, right? And then you got motherfuckers that are instantly, and these is people that you just work with, right? You don't even know them per se. You just work with them. They don't know, you know what I mean? I could dissect a bunch of the points from this point that I'm making, but I'm gonna stick to this one first, because it just came to my mind just now. I was like, oh yeah, there's another point right there. So, but yeah, just boom, you got your coworkers, and you pop up with a new vehicle, and they're like, oh snap, you know what I mean? When you get that, or You know, that's nice. You know, just yesterday the nigga didn't say shit to you. You know what I mean? Or the bitch didn't say nothing to you. You know what I mean? And it's okay with me. I don't know about you. I'm alright with that. I just say good morning and have a good one to most motherfuckers. That's it. You know what I mean? I don't. I'm very private. You know what I mean? I don't. It's like innate in me not to get too comfortable. I'm programmed to not be too fucking comfortable. I can't do it. I can't do it. In a way, it hurts me. It hurts me when it comes to relationships. Like, you know, yeah, I done had it hurt me in relationships where being that I don't get too comfortable, you know what I mean? Like, once upon a time, I could say, when I was younger and, you know, shacking up with bitches and shit, yeah, I wouldn't even unpack. I wouldn't even unpack, man. I ain't even got shit in the crib. I got like 1 or 2 bags, you know what I'm saying? 3 bags tops, and none of them is, I don't put nothing in no dresser. I don't even buy no dresser, you know what I'm saying? I live out of bag, you know. You might look at that as, you know, that's foul, or you know, that's a, what, vagabond, or whatever the fuck. Hey, I was young, and, you know, as far as circumstances, yeah, it would support that, you know, that idea, that label of being a vagabond, or you know, I always said vagabond. I always called it a vagabond. But anyway, but I wasn't living like no bum, no, per se. That's the thing. That's the thing. I just wasn't able to get too comfortable, and that also comes from my upbringing. Even when I was younger, like, me and my mother was always moving. We was always moving and shit, you know, and you know that comes from circumstances as well, you know. Now that I'm older, I realized that it was bigger than just bad choices. Like, it definitely wasn't bad choices. I had a great mother, great upbringing, even in the projects, even in, you know what I mean, whatever poverty, struggle, or whatever it is that you want to call it, you know. You wasn't even known when you go in my mom's house. Shit, you ain't even know you was in. You forgot you was in the projects, if that makes sense. I've heard a lot of black people talk like that. They'll say, "Yeah, when you know what I mean? Yeah, we live in this area, but shit, it ain't. When you come in this house, like, yeah, you ain't seeing roaches running crazy. You ain't seeing rats and all that. Like, you see nice furniture. You see the, you know, the layout. She got her knickknacks, her pictures." Everything is laid out, plush, you know what I'm saying? Dapper, like you crazy. You forgot you was in the projects. And then you go back outside and yeah, it's pissing on hallways or whatever, but it ain't right. When you come in here, it ain't like that. You know what I mean? So that's how I grew up with that. But I could just say that groomed me into never getting too comfortable, though. And like I said, not getting too comfortable can hurt you as well, you know. And that's why I say that point, you know, of my upbringing, yeah, that very well, you know, plays a part in me not wanting to, you know, plant my flag and shit, you know what I mean? And I could say here later in my life now, at the age I am now, at 40, I'm just now becoming stable, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm just now actually like settling in to stability, if that makes sense. And you know, I believe there's a lot of people that can relate to this. I believe there's a lot of people that can relate to this. Like, it don't even necessarily have to be that you know, boom, you didn't have no job all this time, or you didn't have no home all this time, or, you know, shit like that. Nah, I'm not, you know, of course you can take it that way, but I'm coming from the angle of it was hard for me too. Like, I didn't want to. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, I have the pressures against me, you know what I mean? Boom, you catch charges when you're younger. It's hard for you to get a gig. It's hard, you got to find gigs in certain industries, warehouse work, forklift driver, shit like that. Construction if they hire you, you know what I mean? Different things like that. And then on the flip side, being that you so used to, you know what I mean, grab up, you know what I mean, grabbing up and getting up out, you know what I mean, skate, you know what I mean. You so used to, you know, jumping ship, jumping, you know what I mean. Like that's just, and I don't want to paint the picture like, like boom, it's coming from like a womanizer standpoint, or I jump from woman to woman or nothing like that. Cause yeah, I can count on my relationships on one hand, and, maybe two, under 10 fingers though. But anyway, the point the point that I'm trying to make is no, it ain't coming from the per se like I'm not coming with good qualities. It ain't coming from that standpoint, which I know that exists. That's more prevalent than anything right now. That's why I said, if you heard on my last live, as far as me speaking about order, like yeah, we had more order back in the days, post slavery. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. Right after slavery, yeah, even during slavery, I could say our families were put together even more if they wasn't split apart from them folks. You know what I'm saying? But now, we done got too comfortable. This is what made me want to speak about this topic as it is from the jump. That point right there, from the family standpoint, from the, a real broad lens across looking at how us as foundational Black Americans are operating in such a time like this. Yeah, these times right now is forcing it back to this, and I'm grateful for this. This is why I said I'm speaking on the too comfortable thing, is because I hope you realize, yeah, you got too comfortable. Moms that got too comfortable, pops that got too comfortable, man. Our uncles, our aunties, everybody done got too fucking comfortable, man. Super. I've been saying this for some years, man. I used to hate seeing people get so, I want to say, like everything, like they put down everything that's important to go do something that don't mean that don't hold no fucking weight. You know what I mean? Like when you hear somebody saying like, "Oh, such and such coming to town," you know what I mean? Oh, you trying to get tickets, and knowing damn well that they ain't got shit in the fridge. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like they ain't got shit in the fridge. They ain't even got no car, which some might say that. Hey, having a good time is important as well. Having a good time is essential as well to your well-being. Yes, I agree. Now, I agree. Now, does it need to break the bank though? That's where I'm going to catch you. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm going to have you, trying to backpedal, you know what I mean? Pull out every whatever, anything you could to rebuttal me, which is, that makes it a bad faith debate, argument, or whatever as it is, and I'll just back out of it because I'm not about making somebody look dumb or see, that's what people need to understand as far as debating. Period. Like it's not about making the other person look dumb. It should be about solution. It should be about coming to a common ground. It shouldn't be about, oh, I can come out with this and then, you won't have nothing to say. You know what I mean? Like that, you know what I mean? Like that's corny to me. That's corny as fuck. Or you'll start stuttering and, I'll say this, and then like it's just that's not even. It's only the reason why. On another fucking side note, the reason why that dude from Turning Point became popular is because it gives the mediocre motherfuckers of this earth, which is popular now, as you can see. Mediocrity is through the roof. Everything is mediocre than a motherfucker. The lamest shit just gets, you know, propelled to the top, like as if it's profound, it's crazy. But anyway, he gave the mediocre motherfuckers a stage, gave them a position in the room where they could hold their head up high. Because really, all he was is a mediocre person riding on speaking anti-black views. And how he did it, he would come with his, I always called it's just pure toolbox talk. The corny ass white boy jokes and, that corny ass white boy wit and cleverness. You see what I'm saying? And that's entertaining to the mediocre audience. That's super entertaining. It's kind of like I know you are, but what am I? It's that type shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's corny to motherfuckers that actually will have substance. But when you're dealing with what you're dealing with now, the world has been like consumed by mediocrity, which is, I believe, has been cultivated from this internet shit. Basically, the internet has breeded just pure mediocrity, man. Pure, you know what I'm saying? Hypocrisy, mediocrity, a whole bunch of, just poor value, poor moral, You may not agree, and this is what I would say to that. If you don't agree with it, I believe you're one of them then, which is, it's all the more better for me. Shit, I stay away from you. I'm not gonna sit here and just, talk shit on you or whatever. I'll teach you if you're willing to, be taught, because I'm being taught myself. I'm learning myself. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I'm not gonna bite on or chew on is that bullshit. I'm not gonna be a you know what I mean? I'm not gonna bite on that bullshit. Hell no, eat on that bullshit. No, no, and they know that. They know that. You know what I mean? They know that. But for years, I could say here it is, 2025. Shit, at least 100 years now. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that. I would say at least since the 60s or 70s. Basically when the icon, when the icon MLK got up out of here, and Malcolm X and them, when they got up out of here, it's been just pure comfort, man. Pure comfort, man. Yeah, we'll have our different ones here and there, you know what I'm saying? Try to uprise and, provide a spark to the family, provide a spark to the lineage or what have you. But a lot of it be empty, because when you talk to your average person, just ask them something like this. Ask them something like this. What would you, take it back to elementary. I use this word all the time, elementary. But I'm going to use it in the sense of, school. Ask them a question like this. What do you want to be when you fucking grow up? What did you want to be? Now that you're a grown motherfucker, you could still ask somebody this. What did you want to be when you grew up? And 9 times out of 10, they done lived so much, experienced, done extracted that shit so much out of them. Like, you get what I mean? Like, they're so distant from that now, is that they're just on a conveyor belt. They won't even know how to answer you. They won't even know how to answer you. I'm just trying to, I've been here for 20 years, some shit like that. I'm just trying to get out, get my pension, and, it's basically just tuck my tail and, get out the way. You know what I mean? It's basically tuck my tail. I'm gonna put my head down, you know, throw something, slap something on the grill on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. It's basically the same shit. That's what you would get. You won't have no kind of empowering shit, no kind of empowerment come out of them. You know, everybody look, everybody knows about Alibaba and all these little sites that you can, source. Get your little sweatsuits made and whatever it is, your water bottles printed up or whatever the fuck it is now, and they think they doing something. You see what I mean? Which is that's a step forward. I can say that's a step forward past the average motherfucker that is like, I've been here at this company for 30 years. I gave that company 30 years of my life. And it's like, damn, in that 30 years, OG, you never thought to break out and make your own lane. You know what I mean? You never thought to, and even if he did, like, to actually do it is the thing. To actually do it is what I'm talking about. Like, there's plenty of motherfuckers that have thought about it, right? Talked about it, right? But just talking it, what does that do? What does that do? What does that do? They'll be like, I had a ceiling, you know what I'm saying? Money happens, life happens. Oh shit, trust me, I understand. But don't you think that those same hardships hit the company that you work for? Now, if you break down the history of the big corporations that we work for, yeah, of course not. Of course not. They used our labor. Now, boom, I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to circle back to, what do you stand for then? What the fuck do you stand for then? Obviously, boom, if you working for this company that has been around since, the 1800s, the 1900s and shit, late 1800s, early 1900s, and you never thought in your mind that, oh man, they got it cracking, they got the ball rolling off of our free labor, and they still around in such a time as this to where I'm working here now. Like, shouldn't that like spark or cultivate a sense of, man, we got to produce justice here. We got to fight for justice here then. You know what I mean? We got to, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm going to work here. Yeah, I'm going to work here right now because, boom, it pays bills. It feeds my family. I understand that. But shouldn't that make you like the word reparations should come to mind? Like, oh, man, all these companies that you work for, all these companies that we work for, damn, they got to pay up then. You know what I mean? We got to get justice through this shit then. But instead, boom, everybody just get rocked to sleep, man. You know what I mean? Boom, they get their little check on Friday. Get their little check on Friday, get their little steak dinner or, chicken dinner, whatever it is that, you know what I mean? And you just get rocked to fucking sleep, man. And then boom, 3-4 generations come by. Because as you get older, look, you got to look at it like this. Your average lifespan is what, 60 years old, 70 years old. Everybody's not living to 80, 90, 100 years old. So, boom, you get your good life, you get the good years out of the way, which is what 20 to 40, 20 to 50 maybe, your good years, meaning before the ailments and the bullshit start happening. Basically where you start, you start kicking your feet up and you're like, that ain't my problem. You see what I mean? You get my drift, man. You get my drift. And that's the long game that the white supremacist is playing. He like, oh, you were comfortable as fuck from, we knew you ain't no factor from 1 to, you're not a factor from 1 to 20. That's my bet. You're not a factor. You're not even on the board from 1 to 20. From 1 to 20, you don't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? So you're not even a factor. You're not a threat. You know what I'm saying? Unless you had like a Black Panther mother or a Black Panther father or somebody in your ear speaking, some real shit. Which a lot of us didn't. Which a lot of us didn't. You'll have the fakes and the frauds, like they really wasn't militant though, Shout out to the OG. Pharaoh said that he speaks on this factor that I'm talking about, because I can tell that he was really pushing that, but a lot of people wasn't like that, and he says that he's like, yeah, it'll be people that be looking the part, you know what I mean, saying the lingo and shit, but they ain't really like that though. It's just a trend, a fad. And it's like that right now. It's like that right now. And that's my whole point of saying that the too comfortable shit. Like, I hope with all this that's going on right now, it forces you out of your comfort zone. It forces you out of your comfort zone. I'm the type of individual on this earth that has always been told by, especially people that don't know me, you know what I mean? Because people that know me, shit, man, they just respect it, you know what I mean? They just respect it. But I've always been told, oh, take it easy, lighten up, or, shit like that, terms like that. And I take offense. I take offense instantly. Why? Why? Because it's like, I know you want me to be a duck like you. I know. You want me to be sitting here, paused with my ass cheeks open. You want me to be sitting here, you know what I mean? Teeth, you know what I mean? Grinning ear to ear. You want me to entertain, tap dance, whatever it is that comes with the average duck, the average duck. Even if I could flip the script, on that description. Even the motherfuckers that be looking, the Crips and the Bloods and all that shit, they still ducks too. They're ducks. You know what I'm saying? They're not rising up for nothing greater than them. That's too comfortable as well. You see what I mean? Like, what is your purpose? What is what do you plan to get out of this? And if 9 times out of 10, it's not going to have no answer. They're not going to have no fucking answer. It's probably going to be biased. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be motivated and influenced by their lifestyle, right? Like their answer is going to be influenced off of their lifestyle, based on their lifestyle, which is understandable. But, what I'm saying is that's not going to cut it because on one hand, the motherfucker be like, we want this, we want to own this, and we want to, you know what I mean? We want to, man, fuck the white man and all this bullshit. And it's like, but what the fuck are you doing to do that, though? You know what I mean? What are you doing to put in motion then? You know what I'm saying? So with that said, the too comfortable thing, sometimes you got to sacrifice your pleasures. That's what I've learned to do on this earth, and I'm still learning to do. Yes, I still divulge in my pleasures from time to time. I'll sip. You know what I mean. You get what I'm saying. Once in a while, as I got older, I started listening to more and more jazz. I was one of the young boys that always listened to jazz. I always told people, like, you don't always gotta have words. It's good to just listen, and you know what I mean? Just listen to the music, listen to the beat, listen to the instruments. It's very therapeutic. And then as I've gotten older, and that was based off of just mental health, Like the world just be too loud for you. You know what I mean? The world just be too loud for you. So you don't boom, slap on some jazz and just relax. You know what I mean? Dumb the world down, dumb it down. You know, you know. But as I got older, boom, I listen to jazz. And of course, when I was younger, I was listening to the rap and the R&B and everything else as well. But as I got older, it's jazz and it's more jazz and less the rap, less the other shit. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, back to what I was saying, like as far as I diverge in my pleasures, like that was one of my pleasures growing up, listening to DMX and Nas and all them. So here it is, I'm older. That's one of the things that every once in a while, yeah, I do throw in some shit and it takes me down memory lane and all that. You know what I mean? You get a little relaxed. You get a little too fucking comfortable. But I don't get too comfortable. There you go. I don't get too comfortable. I don't get too comfortable, man. I can't. I can't get rocked to sleep. I can't get rocked to sleep, man. I can't. I can't. And yeah, I can't. So it's like yeah, back to that point I was making with like the Bloods and the Crips and or anybody for that matter that, talk about what they talk a good game, talk a big game, talk a big game on what it is that needs to be done and what they want to do, and their plight, and you know what I mean. And it's like, but what actually are you doing? Are you stopping that to? Because in order for you to put in motion this play, I know you realize this as a grown man or woman. In order for you to put together that play for this, to get this in motion, oftentimes you have to stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes you have to put that down, even if it's for a time period. You know what I mean? Like they had that running across the internet. Oh, you might have to sit out a couple summers just to, come, you know what I mean? Sit out a couple seasons just to come back stronger. You know what I mean? And it's like, and they started hearing that from Warren Buffett and shit. You know what I mean? When it's like, I agree. That's cool. I'm a firm believer in picking the brain of the white supremacists of somebody that is in position, even if they ain't getting in position from the play that they're teaching you, because they learn that play in trial and error. They get in position from the free labor of us. You know what I mean? They got in position from the generational wealth passed down. Don't ever let them tell you that it came from the implementing the tools and the hard work traits that they're putting in their books and their memes and shit now. That ain't the truth, But you can learn from the trial and error traits and tricks and shit that they teaching now. Like, hey, yes, you're gonna have to sit out a couple fucking seasons just to bubble. You know what I mean? When you come out of that hibernation, boom, you come out fresh. You know what I mean? Skin good. You know what I mean? Body good. Your health good, which is bigger than any of the money shit. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, like that, and that's getting out of your comfort zone. When you do these things, that gets you. You have to. You're no longer in your comfort zone when you decide to do these things. For example, working out. When you decide to put in play a regimen, a daily regimen, daily routine for your workout, you have to I'm drawing a blank. You have to put in play, actually devote your time. You have to devote your time and commit. There you go. You have to commit to knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable. It is what it is, right? You have to know that you're committing to an uncomfortable change in your whole schedule, in your whole, you know what I mean, get down, your whole routine. So now you can apply that to the bigger picture. You get what I'm saying? The bigger picture. You apply that to the fucking bigger picture, man. Which meaning like the system that you're living in. The system that you're living in. Like don't get settled and complicit with or complacent, with just hey, they got the hospital, man. They got the police station, man. They got the courtroom, man. They got the, you know what I mean? Like it really bothers the fuck out of me. I had posted this a few years ago. I said something like that. I was like, it blows your mind when you find out that they run literally everything. You live your life being ran. You don't control your life at all. You don't control your whole life at all, and they're not even God. That's the thing. The motherfuckers that control this shit bleed just like you. That's crazy to me. And I'm not that's not coming from an inciting violence standpoint. I wasn't saying that point on some violent shit. I was meaning like it's a human just like you. You know what I mean? But they control everything. They control every activity you do on this earth while you live and breathe on this earth. After God created both you and them. That's wild to me. That's wild to me. Think about that. Yeah, think about that. They control every activity, anything you can think of. I'm talking anything. You want to go get some water? Hey, guess who run that water company? You even can sit in your kitchen. If you drink tap water, go open your tap. Guess who run that water company? That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. That's why to me, if it doesn't bother you, this is what I'm talking about. You're too comfortable. You're too fucking comfortable. I look at everything that way. Even this phone, even this mic, everything. I look at everything that way. Like I know how it's made to the point where if I'm ever blessed to be able to produce such products and companies and things like that, build something like that, man, it's gonna be on and popping, man. It's gonna be on. I know that the plastic is made from this and that. I know that I know how to mold things. I know how to, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm very big on patience as far as a man hour. That's a big part of not being too comfortable. Because when it comes to production, say you have to build something, a lot of that comes from technique, and technique come with form. Form is very disciplined. Form is very disciplined, man. Like I'm always speaking this whenever I talk to people. I use words like efficiency. Like meaning there's no wasted movement. There's no wasted motion. You know what I'm saying? No wasted movement, no wasted motion. Like I really produce in my man hour. You know what I'm saying? I really put forth effort in my man hour. Even if that man hour consists of, this man hour is research. You see what I'm saying? Rarely do I have man hours that are bullshit. I can honestly tell you that. Even in my younger days when I was doing, I could say I can call it bullshit now, you know, even though then I knew it was bullshit. I'm talking in the streets. All that is bullshit. They like when you waste your man hours on shit like that. You know what I mean? But even then, most people that were in the streets, you can tell the difference in different characters in the street. You got people that are actually big players. You got the little fish. You got motherfuckers that actually, getting shit cracking, and then you got motherfuckers that are just going with the wind. They just a leaf in the whole play. They just a leaf in the whole field, like, you know what I mean? And I could say the shooters, most of the shit nowadays right now with everybody talking about switches and all them, most of them are just leaves, man. Most of them are just leaves, dead weight. You get what I'm saying? And it's sad, right? If we put it to them like this, I'm sure they would probably, most of them will probably, argue with you or whatever. But, I feel like the only people that can get through to the youngins now is people that have actually been out there, And I feel like I'm one. I've always been one to speak to the young bruhs, whether it be on the court, anywhere. Like I've always been able to get the ear of the young ones, Just you could see that I'm an older young boy. You could see that I'm an older young nigga. That's what you could see. Like and I, that's where the respect happens. Like it's like, oh, they call you OG, and I was getting called OG at like 24 or 25. So it's like, and because I was doing the same thing when I was that age, I was calling them niggas, OG. Like here I am, 14, 15. I'm like, oh, that's an old head, That nigga only 25, and I call him an old head. Like yeah. Like we understand that. Like he looks like just an older me. This nigga still rock Jordans. This nigga still roll blunts. This nigga still, got a little bench on his arm. It's everybody still doing the same play. But then you have the Leafs, like I said, the Leafs that are they just want to be a part of the shit. They want to be a part of the shit so bad, they'll do anything. Do anything. But anyway, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of that bullshit. My point of bringing that all up is all that is too comfortable. All that is too comfortable, all of it. That whole time period in my life, that was way too comfortable. You could be sitting on most of them cats. What people don't tell them young boys is that they're all sitting on gold mines. They're all sitting on gold mines. Everybody's sitting on a gold mine, man. Even if you ain't the LeBron, like even if you ain't the top tier, you're still sitting on a gold mine, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is you got a talent. You got something that you can bring forth and barter with. You got something that you can bring forth and actually produce and profit from and contribute to your community with, to your society with. Everybody is a gold mine. Everybody is a gold mine, man. Now it's just not popular to like say if man. I like when I get these epiphanies because it feels great. That's how I know the Lord, my Father, is with me. That's what I use these white man platforms for, YouTubes and the Instagrams and all this shit, the X or whatever. Man, if I reach an ear, I reach an ear. If I don't, I don't, man. It's me venting. No, it's gonna be on here though, right? The internet is forever. But yeah, I feel good when I speak on these things. So I'm blessed. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, everybody's sitting on the gold mine, man. Everybody's sitting on the gold mine, and for people to tap into that, even if it ain't something like, because of course the bullshit is popular, right? The bullshit is popular, right? I'm going to call rapping bullshit, man. You know, I'm going to call it that. You know, yes, I love that part of my culture. I love, you know, different things that are part of my culture, but I'm going to call it what it is, man. Like I'm you know, at some point, it's not the groundbreaking shit. It's not splitting atoms. It's not, you know what I'm saying, which our people did as well. All I'm saying is we need to tap back into that type of shit, make that type of shit popular. You know what I mean? Make you know, things that are less degenerate behavior popular, if that makes sense. That's just my take on shit, you know. That's just my take on shit. Like I you know, we got a lot of artists out here. We got a lot of artists out here like that can draw their ass off. I'm one of them. I've been drawing since I was 3, 4 years old. Like very good, not no stick figure shit. Like shading, you know, all that. You know, symmetry, all, you know what I mean? Like it just comes natural. Like they teach you what a lot of us can do naturally. They teach you this shit in schools, art schools, institutions and shit. They teach you what a lot of natural artists can do. A natural artist can look at a wall and see a face in it, see a whole image in it. A natural artist can see things in clouds and then draw it. You know what I'm saying? Anything. They're not just strictly cartoon artists or strictly, you know, an architect that draws buildings and shit, like and bridges and shit. Like no, they can draw anything. You know. But that was just one example. Like it's so many things that we can do. You know what I mean? Like anything. Like for example, when you're just idle, in your home, look around. You know, look at the certain products and items that are made that are used to make your home. That's an industry. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole company. That's feeding a whole bloodline. That's feeding families. That's feeding families. Not only is it, you know, keeping your structure in your home, you know, boom, that doorknob is there to open up your door. That's also, you know, it helps you, but it's helping the motherfucker that has a whole doorknob company. You see what I'm saying? I've been saying this since I was a little boy, and I've always looked at things like this. My mom would get me science kits and shit like that. I used to build alarms on my doors and take apart stereos and shit just as a hobby, man. I just want to see what spins the you know, how is it playing this tape in the tape player? How is it playing this CD in the CD player? How? You know, asking how is a big part of not being too comfortable. How and why, and you know, yeah, those are questions that come with people that are not too comfortable. Like when you really tap into the how and the why, you know. And I hope right now, because I'm about to get up out of here, I hope right now, in such a time as this, your hows and your whys are much, you know, they're directed towards, you know, all the, you know, you see what's going on, man. You see what's going on, man. And the hows and the whys, I could say the hows, and I'm gonna do a whole nother live on that. I like that, hows and the whys, most definitely. But the hows and the whys, the hows and the whys will lead you to lead you to not being too comfortable, man. It's very refreshing. It's a very refreshing spirit. So, you know, I attribute it. That's what I was getting to. I attribute it all to the Most High, to our Heavenly Father. You know, that's who answers my house and the wise. You know, that's who answers my house and the wise. He allows me not to get too comfortable here. He says, "Don't be of this world." You know what I mean? Be in the world, but don't be of this world. You know, and that to me in a nutshell lets me know, don't get too comfortable, Gunner. You know, and I'm like, hey, amen. I appreciate that, Lord. But anyway, you stay blessed. Peace, peace.